Welcome to Sports for Dummies with Curtis J. Phillips. I'm Curtis J. Phillips. We're here at Miskinaw Golf Course with two special people. We're here with the Fox, the bronze Fox, made by Don Begg in 2013, and with golf pro Chris McKenzie, also sitting like a bronze statue up there, straight and perfect. Chris, how long have you been golf pro here at the Miskinaw Golf Course?
This is my 5th season. Yeah.
And originally, where are you from?
Cape Breton, Nova Scotia.
Now, I've taken a couple lessons from Chris.
Yeah.
And I'm a beginner at the age of 60, and we're going to go into course right now on hole number 7, is it?
Yes, hole 7.
Hole 7, as Chris is going to take us through a number of things using the putters, the drivers, the irons. And for beginner golfers, this is pretty exciting. And also for the veteran golfers, we're going to pick up some tips today as Chris McKenzie is going to take us for a little round here at Miskinaw Golf Course on Sports for Dummies. We're here at hole number 7, correct, Chris?
Correct.
Now, when I first started, I only played golf once before I came out here. It was in 1982, and I went to the golf course here. They had sand greens in, and my first time ever teeing up a golf ball and hitting a golf ball, I was with Jack Nicklaus Jr. and Danny Hallerson. I got up there in front of a big crowd. I got my positioning, what I thought was right, wound up, bang, exploding golf ball. So I think that's kind of put me off my game a bit. So what's the key to getting the good drive on the fairway?
Okay, so we're gonna run through a few pointers that will help you out. So first of all, let's go ahead and put the tee in the ground.
It doesn't matter what height you put the tee.
The only thing I would say is, over the years, the clubs have gotten, if you notice the club head, it's much bigger from back in 1982 when they were only tiny. So we want to get that ball, just sort of get that tee barely in the ground. That's gonna help us get the ball up in the air as well. There you go. So let's start off with our stance. Okay, so this is the longest and heaviest club in the bag. So we can be a good distance away from the ball. That's perfect. Now our stance should be a little bit wider than our stance with our irons. Okay, so that's fine. Because the width here is a little bit wider than Curtis's shoulders, which is great for the driver. Okay, your ball position is just off your inside heel. So
I'm a bit too far. I should step back a bit.
It should just right about here be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, you want that ball just off your inside heel. Okay, that's excellent. Now put the club right behind the ball. Now, once we're in this position, okay, we want to take that club back as far as we can. Okay, so we want to get a little farther back if we can. Excellent. And then the real key is we want to have that club go all the way through. You hit the ball and then keep going all the way through. Good. And then you can let that club keep going. And what's great about this swing right now is he's shifted his weight, and his body is pointing at the target. Okay, and that's what we're really after. Now, so let's see one more.
What I find, is my hand grip okay?
Grip's fine.
Okay.
How tight are you squeezing the club?
3/4.
Okay, so if we could bring that down just a little bit, you want to be nice and relaxed. Okay. We want to limit that tension all the way through and hold it. Excellent.
Now, what I find, Chris, when I'm doing that, and I'm a beginner golfer, this is a natural position my body feels comfortable. Okay. When I'm coming up here, I'm losing grip. My hand's going like that, coming off the club. Okay. How would you correct that?
Well, you could maybe try to interlock, which is another grip type. Okay, so where you interlock your index finger and your pinky finger together. Okay, and that'll give you a little more connectivity. So why don't you give that a try?
Okay, so I'm
interlocking here and here. Just like so.
Oh, wow.
Excellent, there you go. So it's gonna be really difficult to separate when you use that grip. All the way through, excellent.
Well, it turned a little bit, but before it's coming off.
Yeah, and I mean, after about 100 swings, I think it'll start to feel a little more natural.
Okay, could you demonstrate here, just aiming off that way before we hit on hole number 7?
I've actually got a 3-wood in my hand because I hit the ball a little bit farther than Curtis, so I'll swap in the driver.
Oh yeah, he's bragging already. We're only on the first 5 minutes of the show and he's bragging already how far he can hit.
Okay, so I've got a little bit wider stance, okay, for my driver. The ball's in line with my heel. And once I'm in this position, I'm really starting to focus on getting to that finish position, staying nice and in balance, okay, and letting the club do the work for me. Okay, so I take it all the way back, and then all the way through and hold that finish. Okay, so I think you're ready.
Okay, let's try it. Now, Chris, that was once again, I went back to what I did, the check swing coming up to here.
We'll fix it.
Yeah, it'll take a while to get comfortable with full extension. Holy cow, Sports Illustrated, SI, baby. Well, that was a 180-yard drive, estimated, my drive, into the wind. And how far do we have to go on hole number 7 here to get to the green?
So we've got another 210 yards in, so mission accomplished on the drive.
It wasn't in the woods.
No, we found it, and it's the most difficult hole in the golf course. So for a beginner golfer, if you could ever hit this hole in 3, you've done incredible. Okay? So from this position, 210 yards, we've pulled a 7-wood. It's your trusty 7-wood. Okay, so we're just simply trying to advance the ball up the fairway. If we can get it, 125 yards to 150 yards, we'll be in perfect position for a 3rd shot to reach the green.
Now, how do people, the problem I'm having is deciding what iron, what wood to use on the course. After a while, you kind of figure out what distances they go.
Yeah, I wouldn't obsess over it right now. I'd obsess over putting good swings on the ball, breathing and trying to be as confident as possible. It's kind of like saying, what shoes should I use to make more free throws? You have to shoot them, okay? So we're gonna make some minor adjustments from the teeing area, okay? So with a wood or even an iron, the ball's gonna go a little bit farther back in your stance, okay? You're gonna hit down on the ball more. So at this point, we can actually hit the ground a little bit. Okay, so go ahead and take a swing, touch the ground, all the way through and hold that finish.
Should hit the ground.
Good, perfect.
Now, is that the proper positioning for the leg?
Yeah, exactly. So we want to turn our belt buckle and our chest to point the target and hold that. There you go.
Try one more time. That time I hit too far behind the ball.
Right, so it's trying to find that happy medium. So if you start right behind the ball, okay, that's where you're trying to deliver the club back to. So you set up here, that's where you're trying to hit. Okay, so now, set up to it again.
One of the biggest things is lifting your head.
Sure.
And how do you keep, I see sometimes they hold your hair to keep your head down. Is that an old trick or?
It's probably an old trick.
Okay.
I'm not going to be holding your hair today.
Well, there is not much hair there. Okay, so you're bending your knees?
Yeah, and think about it, it's your head and your chest. Okay, you want to stay over the ball. The club goes back, I'm going to hit the ground, and I'm going to turn through at the target. Hold it, good. Okay, let's give it a try. Oh, Jesus. Incredible. Wow. Okay. Absolutely incredible. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, Chris, for a beginner, how was my second hit there at the 7-wood?
It was unbelievable. I'm actually...
Oh, you're just pulling my leg.
No, it's a great start. I mean, you've got 2 shots, you've only got 50 yards in. There's really no excuse to make anything worse than a 5 here.
And this is what par is this?
4. So you'd be 1.
Oh, so you're not confident I'll make a par?
No, not at all.
He's a pro. But as a pro, you'll get 4 naturally. You'll get birdie.
Well, this is the toughest hole in the golf course.
Making excuses ready?
Yes.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
What do you shoot? Like what do you shoot? What's your?
I've only played 3 times this year,
Yeah.
so most of my time's taken up teaching and running the golf course, so I don't have a ton of time to play anymore.
But that's a good, naturally a good golf player too. How many years does that take to be on, like thousands of hours to get to that level?
Well, I started when I was 11. I'm 32 now, so 21 years. So it probably took, certainly a good 10 years, and it's 100 rounds a year.
And that's in Nova Scotia, mainly?
Yeah.
And what's the Nova Scotia courses and Alberta courses?
Closer to the ocean, moisture. It's incredibly dry here, as we saw with the fire. When you're by the ocean, it rains every second day, and when it doesn't, there's a lot of moisture in the air. Ball doesn't travel as far. So there's some key fundamental differences.
Well, you show us the fundamentals, Chris. Your second hit on the green on the dance floor, possible double eagle or triple boogie or whatever they call it. Wow. Okay, Chris, my second hit now is about how many yards away from the...
We're about 40 yards away.
40 yards away. You suggested the pitching wedge. Now, to be honest, when you learn sports, even as a young lad, I always ask who's the best person around to learn, who's the best coach. And before I started learning this year, I came to you, my wife and I, to learn. And when I was hitting a pitching wedge or a 9-iron, every time, 90% of the time, I'd be hitting, the ball would go horizontal. Is that horizontal or vertical?
Horizontal.
Perpendicular. That's a better word. Perpendicular to me.
Yeah.
And you showed an easy lesson. Maybe show us what that lesson you showed me.
Okay, so we're going to look at a few things. I'll just grab the club.
Okay.
We're just going to look at a couple things. If I can jump in here.
Yep, go ahead.
The ball, what we talked about with our irons and our driver was more forward in our stance. Okay, we're going to bring that ball a little bit back. Okay, and what I mean by back is this is forward in relation to the hole, and this is back. Okay, so if anything, it's slightly back of center. Okay, my hands are a little bit forward, and then my weight's going to be about 60-40 on my front foot. Okay, and then from here, I'm simply going kind of half back and half through. What we're really trying to avoid, when that ball gets forward, we add loft to the club. Okay, and what happens is we get those dreaded skulls where you hit the bottom of the club and the ball just shoots over the green. Okay, or you get underneath it and it doesn't go anywhere. So the only way to get the ball to go 40 yards would be to take this giant swing, and we're so close to the green we don't want to do that. Okay, so much better technique. Ball slightly back in my stance, hands forward, weights a bit on my front side. Go ahead, Chris.
Now, Krista, what the main thing you pointed out to me, the club is not here.
No.
The club's going to your other hip.
Exactly. Slightly forward. Okay, and then once we're here, we've got a little bit weight. You can kind of feel that weight on your thigh. You keep it there, and you're here and here.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Let's give it a go.
Now this
And by the way,
now this is once again back foot.
a little bit back, yeah. Keep going, good.
Right here.
Yeah, I would just address the ball. So come on right into
Hello,
the
ball. Oh, no, okay. What do you want to do?
Put the club right behind the ball.
Club behind the ball.
Okay, good.
And then,
There you go, excellent.
And then this,
We're good.
Right
yeah.
here.
And then your weight slightly forward.
and then I'm going.
Good. Excellent. And go a little farther back. Good. There you go. Give it a
Okay.
try.
Oh. Now what did I do there?
Just lift it up a little bit.
I stopped.
Jeez, it was right on line too. That's not a bad
we'll,
shot.
We'll try
though.
one more.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take my mulligan on the fairway. So, once again, Chris, I want to in towards my hip.
Right. Doing your practice swing, feel the ground. That's better.
Okay.
There you go. Feel that
And
ground.
follow through.
Correct.
Okay, now we'll let you. Where's your ball? Oh, yeah, it's
up
on
on
the
it.
green. Yeah. Okay, Chris, they say there's, I think there's a saying, drive for show, putt for dough.
Yes.
Hey, now, the hardest thing I find as a beginning golfer is reading the greens. I'm still learning how do you read a green like this? What do you look for? What does it mean on your putt?
Okay, so with this putt, I've got about 40 feet. Okay, so when you're talking about reading the green, you're talking about what way the putt's going to break, so what way it's going to fall. For a putt of this distance, I'm thinking about line as probably 10% of the equation and weight about 90. So what I am looking at though is there's a ridge that runs through the middle of the green and everything falls this way. So if I were to pour a glass of water, it's naturally going to fall down here. So I'm going to aim the ball a little bit up to the left. Okay. And then I'm really going to focus on how hard do I hit this. Okay.
And what's the difference between a driving swing and a putting swing?
It's much smaller. As you can see, the grass is far more manicured, so the ball rolls a lot easier. Obviously, when you're driving the ball, you're trying to get it up in the air, so it's just a completely different technique. When we're putting, what I want to think about, just as a small tip for everybody, the putter blade should go back and through the same distance. Okay, what we're trying to avoid is taking it back short and really accelerating through. Okay, or the complete opposite, which you see a lot of, taking it back and decelerating and just slowing up. Okay, so I want to keep relatively the same tempo the whole stroke. I just want to marry that backswing to the follow through.
Now, is it this arm bringing it through, or this arm pushing it, or a pendulum swing? What is it?
It's mostly my shoulders. Okay, so my hands are acting as one unit, so they're not breaking, and they're acting as one, and my shoulders bring the putter blade through.
Okay, let's see.
All right.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna try my putt now.
So you really want to visualize that line the ball is going to travel, okay, and sort of see it go all the way into the hole.
So I'm looking at going a bit to the left.
Exactly.
Curling? Okay. That was
another one.
Okay, one more. What did I do wrong there, Chris? Too much to the left?
Too much break. Yeah, I hit a little hard.
Okay.
Oh. Perfect.
Just walk and tap it in.
There we go.
Okay, so now we're going to go to hole number 8, a short hole, a difficult hole. So, Chris, on this hole here, I don't see a lot of tee markings. This hole, tell us a bit about this, what clubs we should use.
It's 115 yards, and judging by that 7 wood you hit last hole, I think it'll be a perfect yardage for you. You've got a big green up there, so go ahead and,
okay,
and give it a go.
Why don't people tee up here?
You can.
But yeah, I don't see a lot of tees.
A lot of times that might be because they're just not hitting down on the ball a lot.
Okay. Are you supposed to be talking when I'm golfing? Swing?
Preferably not.
Just teach it, Chris. I'm in the sand?
Yeah, you hit it perfect, but just pulled it a little bit.
Okay. Now we'll watch Chris McKenzie, golf pro at Miskinaw Golf Course. You know, if you want to improve your game, take a lesson. I took a lesson and I've gone from shooting 100 on the front 9 to 100 on the 18, so vast improvement. Wow, straight on. How many holes of one have you had, Chris?
0. Goose egg.
Wow, okay, well, we may get one today. And after this hole, we're going to something called the 19th hole. I'm not too sure what the 19th hole is. I'm new to golf. But Chris says I'll do well. I got the figure for the 19th hole. I don't know what that means. But he said I look like I'm into the 19th hole quite a bit. So I'm into curious what this 19th hole is all about. Okay, now, Chris, I call this the I Dream of Genie shot because I'm in a sand bunker. Some people say this is the most difficult shot in golf.
It is pretty difficult, but with the proper technique, there's nothing to be scared of.
Hey, do you want to show us what we have to do?
Sure.
Well, I thought I could do with the putter.
First thing is, this is the club face square. We're going to open the face a little bit, okay? You're going to take your regular stance, and it can be sort of just a little bit off your inside heel. What I really can't stress enough, we're going to pick a point just behind the ball, okay? So you could probably pick maybe half an inch. You're going to hit that point and accelerate all the way through. The acceleration is the real key.
Now, your club you showed me was hitting like that. Is that not going to hit the ball like that?
No, because I'm going to dig in right here.
So you're digging in behind the ball, going into the sand?
Exactly.
And then through?
And then, yeah, so forget about the ball. Pick a point just behind the ball.
Okay.
Hit that point and accelerate through.
And how much sand do you take up? Is there... Maybe show us just off to the side.
Sure.
Like you don't hurt yourself in this
Just
shot, or?
No, you won't hurt yourself. Okay, so I'm here. I'm going to hit slightly behind the ball. I'm going to accelerate all the way through.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Yeah. Oh, nice to get that slow-mo.
I'd be careful, guys, with me hitting this.
Okay, so your positioning is good. Let that club face open ever so slightly. That's closed.
Open like this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There you go. You're going
underneath.
to hit it and accelerate all the way through.
Okay. What did I do wrong there?
So the club got to about here.
Yeah.
On the follow through, I want it to get up here.
Okay, all the way through. All the way through.
Here, why don't we try a practice swing?
Okay.
So hit the sand and accelerate all the way through. That's it.
Okay.
There you go.
You got out?
You get out.
That's good.
All right, that's good.
Chris, on the way over, I heard we're going to the 19th hole. I've never been to the 19th hole. And you commented to Bree that I look like I've been to the 19th hole many times. What does that mean? I'm not too sure. What happens at the 19th hole? And I look like I'm from the 19th hole.
I never said that, but it's just a chance to eat and drink with friends that you played with, to sit down, and just kind of talk about the round, and it's more of a social time instead of especially when it's hot out like this.
Yeah.
It's really relaxing just to sit down and grab a drink.
Now, one thing I find interesting, I'm 60 years old. Okay. I'm starting a new sport, and this is a sport. A lot of, like, say for basketball or track and field, if you want to excel at a sport or just keep up to people, it's going to be tough at the age of 60 starting. But this is a sport you can start at a later age.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm teaching two young ladies. They're in their early 20s, and one of them was getting frustrated in the first lesson. I said, "You've got 50 years to work with."
Now, a funny story. I'm going to interrupt you there.
Sure,
My wife Diane and I were out taking lessons from Chris here, and Chris says you still have another 10 years to learn to play golf. And my wife looked at him.
I said 15. At
15
least.
years, and she goes, "We're not going to make it to our 70s." And so Chris thought I was a bit older than 60. I thought I was 75.
That's not true either. But I do try to let people know that they should have tremendous patience. I mean, there's so much time, and like you said in basketball, I mean to go out there, or football even, I mean, it's just such a completely different ball game. We played the forward tees today, which make it even a little bit easier on people as they advance in age. And
advancing in age now. Okay, we'll continue.
So there is no rush.
Yeah. Now, psychologically, how important is it? Because we're sitting here at the Fox Den, a beautiful place to come eat. You don't have to play golf to come eat here. This final hole 18, for some reason, it's a promising hole for me, because every time on my second shot, I'm either on the edge of the green or on the green on this, and this is a long hole. And there's another hole, I forget what it is, where I've parred 4 times in a row now. Is that psychological? If you do well in that hole, you think you can do well in that hole every time?
I think it's just probably for you, just superstition. Your sample size is so small that you might have just had a good hole or two, and you think that that's your hole. But I'll tell you this, if you think it's your hole, just keep saying that and go with it.
How hard is it to get that for all 18?
Well, the game's not incredibly easy, so it takes time, but in terms of, I mean, I think it works the opposite way, as much or more. So if 18's your hole, if you keep playing and keep practicing, I guarantee you're going to have some holes that go the other way, and 6 is your nemesis. And so, I mean, for the most part, I try to kind of stay clear of that as much as possible and just focus on, what I can do, and try not to let the golf course get in my head or the people I play with.
Now, what about etiquette? Like there'll be some people out there who will bend etiquette. What's some of the rules of etiquette for golf?
I think, just sort of golden rules in life. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. And I mean, within that, there's a whole series of rules, with ball marks, not talking when somebody's swinging.
Like you were doing when I was swinging, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was trying to get in your head. But I think for the most part, to kind of paint it with a broad brush, you just want to be nice to people and be courteous and have some self-awareness of what's going on around you, and you won't have an issue.
In scoring.
And ask. If you don't know what to do, you can simply just ask.
Like I learned when I first started walking in front of somebody's, they're putting, walking in front of their line.
Yeah, so you don't want to step on their line that the ball's going to travel on, because you could, create an imperfection, and then that could hit a bump, and it just makes it more difficult to putt.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's Michelle, right?
It is
Well,
Michelle.
thank you, Michelle. That's excellent.
You're very welcome.
Thank you
Can I
very
top off
much.
your drinks?
Yes, please.
Sure.
A diet
Perfect.
drink,
I'll
please.
come right back with some refills.
Thank you.
And that's Michelle at the Fox Den. What are the most for you, and probably for all golfers, what are the most challenging holes on this course?
7, the one we started out with.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good design, bunkers where your ball's going to land. It's long, elevated green, 2-tiered green. I mean, it's pretty much got all the elements of a really difficult golf hole. 16, which is a long, it's actually, I shouldn't say long, it's probably a short to medium length par 5.
By the river.
By the river, but it's caught a lot of people. Very narrow driving area, and also falls off to the left, which brings the hazard into play. So those are some of them, but for the most part, it's a parkland golf course, and it's designed not just for the better player, but like for yourself, for someone who's just starting out, and it's not incredibly penal. So it's a good design for everybody in the community to take a crack at.
If you're giving me just 4 tips to become a better golfer, so we get into these nachos, what are the 4 tips you would give somebody to enjoy it, not to be a great golfer, just to be a golfer, enjoy themselves, and go out and play? What are the 4 tips?
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Have fun with it. And one way to have fun with it is to have patience. Limit the information you're getting from outside sources. So, I'm not going to take advice about videography from someone that's never operated a camera, or they operate it really poorly. So I think we get way too much information coming at us from a variety of different sources. Try to limit that as much as possible. I mean, if you're going to go on the internet, go on YouTube, and there's lots of videos from top 50 instructors in the world. Focus on that, or get instruction from a PGA golf professional. Use decent equipment. Take the time to get fit, so that you're not using clubs that are making the game even harder than it already is. And then you're going to have to, at some point, a lot of people that I deal with, especially at Misconot, a municipal golf course, they talk a lot about, well, I'm just here for fun. I don't care about playing good. And and I think Bree would know, and everybody here would know, if they've ever done something and accomplished something, and I'm not talking about going out and shooting 75 or anything like that, but just hitting one good shot. Strive for that, and the game's going to be way more enjoyable than going out there and topping it and topping it and topping it and topping it. So I'm not saying that you should put a tremendous amount of pressure on yourself, but work at just getting a little bit better. And the ways to do that, like I just mentioned, take some time to ask a better player, or take a golf lesson. You're gonna have way more fun with the game.
Yeah, and well, Chris, it's been enjoyable talking to you here at Miskanaw Golf Course. And unfortunately, the batteries died when you had that hole-in-one on 17, and I had the hole-in-one on 18.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the batteries died, but we know we got them. So cheers for our back-to-back holes-in-one.
Thank you so much. It was really fun.
Yeah, and it's been Curtis J. Phillips along with Chris McKenzie, golf pro here at Miskanaw Golf Course. We'll see you in a couple weeks' time for another edition of Sports for Dummies. Try these nachos; they're amazingly good. One of the etiquettes of golf is to make sure your golf balls are nice and clean so you can read what actually it says on here. And my ball is a use only on range ball.
Okay.